What's up, everybody? Steve Brenner here along with Nate Bell, Pittsburgh Sports Now. We are talking WPIAL football playoffs. The brackets were released about 24 hours ago. We are here at Dunkin' Donuts in Hopewell. This is Hopewell, right? It's not Aliquippa. You grew up around here.
I think this side of the street might be Aliquippa.
All right, so then maybe it's the Aliquippa Dunkin' Donuts, which we will talk about Aliquippa a lot here in the next couple of minutes. But we're going to go over all six WPIAL playoff brackets. We're going to try not to go through every single game. We'll talk maybe a few predictions, maybe a favorite or two, and kind of if we see an upset or two here or there. But first, the first game that you covered for the site for us was the Aliquippa Central Valley game last night, or a week ago. Give me your thoughts on just what you saw out there.
It was really surprising, honestly, because going into it, I'm thinking Aliquippa's the favorite because they were the number one team in WPIAL. So, but right off the bat, Central Valley forces a fumble, scores on their first play from scrimmage. And Aliquippa just kind of fell apart. So Central Valley kind of rolled, and their defense really stepped up. Their offense Dudley was just the best player on the field, I thought, in my opinion. So I think Central Valley's the favorite in 3A right now.
Yeah, we'll go over 3A in a minute here, but we'll start at the top. We'll start at 6A and work our way down because 6A was the bracket that was figured out Friday night after the games with only one conference and everything. North Allegheny and Central Catholic, one of the two seeds getting the bye into, it's Central Catholic and Pine-Richland. I'm all mixed up here. I did see NA and Pine, but do you see any of these other teams other than the two that get the byes and the Pine-Richlands and Central Catholics? Can any of these other four teams maybe challenge either of those two for a WPIAL championship?
I think the way the bracket came out, honestly, if NA was on the other side of the bracket, I think they give Central Catholic a better game than they might give Pine-Richland. Pine-Richland looked like the better team last week, in my opinion. I think they kind of roll on that side, as well as Central Catholic on the other side.
Yeah, Pine-Richland scored 2 touchdowns on their first 4 plays from scrimmage against North Catholic, and then North Allegheny showed a lot of guts tying it at 14, but I think Pine-Richland showed it was the better team. Cole Spencer is running a masterclass in that offensive quarterback, so I think
their passing game's just a step above everybody else.
I kind of agree. Central Catholic has those 4 D1 prospects on the defensive line, so I mean, the Central Catholic defense against the Pine-Richland offense will be a marquee matchup. So I mean, if everything goes chalk, it'll be an amazing final. So I mean, we both kind of like Pine-Richland and Central Catholic. It'll be a toss-up if it gets there. So no real surprises there. Yeah, let's move on to 5A, arguably the most competitive of the classifications. What do you see in any of these games? Do any of the first round matchups kind of jump out at you?
I like to see Moon and Franklin Regional. I know Franklin Regional's been to the playoffs for like 16 years straight or something. And Moon hasn't been there since I saw only twice since 2005 or something. So they're a much better team this year. So I think Moon might upset a couple people in this bracket.
Yeah, Moon has worked really hard under Ryan Lynn. It's his second or third year with that program. They've really turned it around. They had that big win over Peters Township to earn this home playoff game and the higher seeding over Peters Township. There's the 2 favorites, maybe Penn Trafford and Gateway. Do you put much stock into Penn Trafford's win over Gateway earlier in the season, or does it kind of all get thrown out the window around playoff?
I do a little bit. I think they have a little bit of the mental edge right now. Gateway is kind of playing for number 1 now instead of being the favorite and kind of having that confidence that they think they're the top dog. Yeah. And I think Penn Trafford's quarterback might be the best player in the class. So.
Yeah, it's Penn Trafford kind of had to do a 180. They were going to rely a lot on those 2 running backs this year. With the 2 injuries, this quarterback was forced to do it all. He's an 1,800-yard passer. He's an 800-yard rusher. He's very much a dual threat guy. I mean, you like what Penn Trafford's doing, especially with this role they have in the playoffs and the brackets set up in their favor for sure. So if you had to pick right now before it even starts, again, if everything goes chalk, who do you like more, Penn Trafford or Gateway?
I'm thinking Penn Trafford right now.
Yeah. It's a good one. I like Gateway a little bit. I mean, Derek Davis is the best player in the WPIAL. He's one of the best rushers in the WPIAL. He's a great pass catcher. He does it on special teams, kicking, punts, everything. He just does it all. He might be a difference maker, but a lot has to happen with a 16-team field to get to that.
That's the difference from the 16 and the 8 team. You got to play more games, so you got to be ready.
Let's jump down to 4A. This might be one of the easier ones.
Yeah.
Is Thomas Jefferson as good as everyone thinks they are?
I think so. I mean, the way they beat Central Valley, even though Central Valley is a class down, it was kind of an easy win for them. And I don't see anybody in this classification really giving them a game other than South Fayette, but their defense isn't as good to stop that running game.
Yeah, I mean, South Fayette racks up the passing yards.
Yeah.
They're a good offensive team. They did do it last year. Everyone kind of thought Thomas Jefferson would roll through the playoffs and kind of easily claim a WPIAL championship. South Fayette did it in the finals. We'll see if they're able to do it again. The one team I'm keeping an eye on, it's the game I might go to this week, is Blackhawk. They have...
That's probably going to be the closest game in there.
Yeah, Greensburg-Salem, on the other side of that conference, their losses were to TJ and South Fayette, so they're battle-tested. They know what it takes to win games in this conference. They know what it takes to be the best. So, I mean, Blackhawk will be a really good test for them. It'll be in Blackhawk. Marquise Watson-Tread is one of the better players in the WPIAL at defensive back. So, I mean, I'm circling that one for sure, but I don't know how Blackhawk's going to fare against Thomas Jefferson if they get that far.
I don't see them pulling off an upset there.
Let's jump down. Oh, we got 3A real quick. So here's your area of expertise. In the grand scheme of things, did that game really matter all that much between Aliquippa and Central Valley?
I think it did. I mean, they're going to see each other again probably, unless Central Valley might play Derry again, who Derry bounced them last year in the first round pretty bad. I think it was like 45-6 or something. So that'll be an interesting matchup if those two teams play again. But honestly, I think Beaver Falls is going to upset Derry.
That might be our upset of the week. I kind of had Beaver Falls circled as well. You know, Beaver Falls beat Blackhawk a few weeks ago. Beaver Falls played Aliquippa and Central Valley. They didn't really play them close, but who does?
Yeah.
You know, Derry has the second leading rusher in the WPIAL in Justin Huss. You know, Derry played Aliquippa last year in the finals. They lost a ton to Graduation, but I mean, they're right back in it.
I think Aliquippa is going to have a chip on their shoulder, though, especially on this side of the bracket. They should get there pretty easily.
Yeah. Is it that big of a discrepancy between these two sides of the bracket? Is the Aliquippa Central Valley Beaver Falls side that much better than the Derry North Catholic Elizabeth Forward side so far?
I don't think. I think they're pretty evenly matched. I think whoever gets to the championship, it'll be a pretty close game.
Yeah. So maybe it's not as the discrepancy is as big as we thought it was, but I still think Central Valley and Aliquippa are gonna.
Central Valley had a little bit of fluke in that big win. I mean, they had 4 turnovers in like the first half, so I think it'll be close.
Yeah, so Aliquippa, did you talk to them after the game? What was the atmosphere like?
Mike Warfield, he was pretty laid back about it. He was like, we got beat, we weren't ready. He just admitted they weren't really ready for the competition. Like they thought they were just gonna walk in, and roll, but it didn't happen that way. Central Valley was a tougher team. I think they'll be ready next time around.
Yeah, especially if these two teams play again, it'll be at Heinz Field. They won't have the comforts of the pit. I mean, even though Heinz Field is kind of a second home for Aliquippa, it's not like playing at home again for Aliquippa. They'll be ready for this one, especially under Mike Warfield. So let's jump down to 2A now. Here's maybe the biggest talking point this week was where the 2A teams would get seated. There were 4 undefeated teams this season. 3 of them are in this 2A bracket here. You know, what are your thoughts between the Washington, Avonworth, and Burgettstowns of the world?
Washington has the upper edge, I think, just because they've been there before. They're 7-time champs, I think. So I think they're the top dog right now, but Avonworth is going to give them a game, I'm sure. And Burgettstown and Avonworth will be a good game, I think, in the semis.
Yeah, Washington has beaten every team this year by at least 22 points. I mean, some teams have great defense and everything, but you can't overstate that you're beating every team you play by 3 touchdowns.
They should walk through their side of the bracket.
Any of these games jump out as you as interesting in the first round?
Burgettstown Riverside's I saw Riverside earlier this year.
Yep.
They got a pretty high-powered offense, honestly. They got athletes. They can move the ball around. They might make some noise at the 14th seed.
Yeah, that's my alma mater. I went to Riverside. I like the coach and everything.
Yeah.
I like the combination between the quarterback and the receiver. The running back's good as well. I don't know if they have the firepower to keep up with Burgettstown, but it might be more competitive than most 3-14 games.
For sure.
Can be. It's the one that I'm looking at. I like McGuffey. Maybe, I think they'll win this first game. I like their chances against Burgettstown.
Didn't McGuffey upset somebody earlier this year?
I think they did. McGuffey played 3 playoff teams coming into the playoffs, so they've been in playoff mode for the better part of a month now. They're kind of like Avonworth, who beat a whole bunch of playoff teams this year. So Avonworth and McGuffey are probably the 2 most battle-tested teams in this conference. So don't be surprised if McGuffey gives Burgettstown a game in the quarters. The last one we got here is the single A bracket. The question in single A was who was Jeanette going to have to play. They weren't able to host. They weren't able to host a home game, so they draw Stowe Rocks in the first round. Is Jeanette clearly the second best team in single A?
Yeah, I think so. I think Clairton Jeanette is going to be the final, but I think Clairton is too much right now.
Yeah, it's what do you think if this kind of goes to chalk? West Green, Ben Jackson, he got the WPIAL record for touchdowns in a single season. He has 10,000 rushing yards or whatever the heck it is this season. He just runs over everybody.
It's going to be a good matchup. I think West Green and Jeanette, the kind of athletes that they both have, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, what kind of chance are you giving Stowe Rocks against a team like Jeanette?
I think
they were
close.
champions. The quarterback is a hell of a passer. He's a good kid and everything. What kind of game do you see that being?
I think it's going to be close in the first half. I think Jeanette will kind of sneak out at the end and kind of show that they belong. As one of the higher seeds in this class.
Is that a good thing for Jeanette? Maybe losing last week, maybe playing a close game this week.
They'll have a little bit of chip on their shoulder.
Exactly.
Kind of try to prove something.
Yep. And we also have to know Cornell is going to play at their home stadium on Friday night in the grass, in the mud, maybe. So God bless California for traveling out there.
I think Aliquippa's game is going to be at Ambridge.
Right. Yeah. Which is it's good if you can get it out. Or Ambridge has a nice big press box for people to go to. Yeah, for sure. Mo Rubenstein Stadium. But so it kind of sounds like we're going chalk for a lot of it here. Everything can change in one game, but in these WPIAL playoffs, there haven't been a lot of surprises over the last few years. So I kind of like how this is shaping out for both of us.
It's a little different that they're playing 2 games at Norwin too this year for the championship.
Yeah,
Heinz Field.
It's good. It's good for Norwin. A lot of kids can you get out and see a lot of that good competition. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill out a bracket here. I'm going to have Nate fill out a bracket. Alan's here, so he can't defend himself. He's going to fill out a bracket as well. Nate and I's bracket will be better than his, but if you want to submit your brackets as well, go ahead and tag us, tag Nate, tag Alan, tag me, Steve_Brenner9 on Twitter. What's your Twitter handle?
Bell __.
There it is. And Pittsburgh Sports Now, go ahead and just send us a photo of the bracket. We'll give some shout outs to some people, maybe a Dunkin' Donuts gift card for if someone has maybe a perfect bracket through all 6 or something like that. We'll figure it out as we go, but it's a chance to get everybody interested here and keeping up with the brackets. So I don't know. I'm probably heading to Blackhawk, Greensburg, Salem this week. We're going to see what we can do about getting some other coverages. The Jeanette Stowe Rocks game is a good one. We might try and get somebody out there, but we're going to play the week as it goes, and throughout the playoffs, we're going to have a bunch of coverage throughout all these games, and it'll all culminate November 16th at Heinz Field for 6, 3, 1, and 4, and then the next week, November 23rd, with 2 and 5 at Norwood High School. So for Pittsburgh Sports Now, this is Steve Brenner, Nate Bell. We want to thank Dunkin' Donuts here, who's been sponsoring the high school football coverage all season. They've done a great job. We're not coffee guys, but my sweet tooth goes crazy here, so I definitely love coming to Dunkin' Donuts. Everybody, come on down here if you get a chance, and just get a hold of us on Twitter. Oh, it's going to be interesting. We're going to have a lot of fun. We always like this time of year. So until next time.